G'day, I'm Jed. Content management really sucks. Earlier this year I went to the oldest, deadest of dead tree media conferences, the Folio conference, and sat in on the content management track that they had. These are all magazine editors, old-fashioned publishers, editors. And these old big media, basically in the room, they polled the audience, and the conclusion of the session was that content management is broken and that it's too hard, too complex, too expensive. And every single person in the room was considering changing. This problem that it's too hard, too difficult, is no longer an old big media problem. Now everyone is the media thanks to social media, blogging, Twitter, and everyone has a problem of how you deal with this stuff. Content management lies at the heart of media, and the ability to effectively deal with a new set of media forms is locked away from us because the tools that we use entrench old ways of working. So today's tools are very much about single channels. So posting a blog to one blog site, posting stuff that's going to go out via an email newsletter or to a magazine article. When we now face a world of a whole plethora of different formats, it also deeply locks together content with its presentation. The two get tied together. And for developers, developers are limited because they have to use the scripting language and the tools which are made available by the content management systems they use. Even the free software, and there's some great free software out there, is expensive because the labour and the cost and the infrastructure required to keep these things running effectively. And because it's difficult and time consuming and labour intensive, it holds back people from spending time on their content. Also, these systems are difficult to use. They're too complex and too technical for most everyday people, but they constrain and limit what techies and developers can do with them. It holds people back from being able to work with them, whether they're novices or technically adept. And they don't have built into them tools that help people actually get the job done. They're all about the posting process, not about the process of collaborating, helping each other, planning out content, commissioning, and tying in contribution and a feedback loop. This problem is going to get bigger. When you look at the content on the internet today, more than 80% of it is what people call unstructured content. Things like blog posts, video casts, podcasts, things which are big blobs of content and which today's systems see as just a single object. As the semantic web rises and as we try to deal with this world, these tools don't have any way of breaking down what the meaning of content is, what the substructure of something like a long article or a long post is about. And as we see more rich sourcing, more linked journalism, and there's more of a need to build in information about what that substructure is about, these tools are going to become more and more broken. Also, as we look at the use of these tools, we find that they're not intended for working in a world of social media and crowd-based content. They break down even when you're trying to deal with comment streams coming back on stuff you've posted. When you're talking about trying to integrate content which is coming in from across communities and across large groups, they don't work. And also we're shifting from a world where the people producing content could control the environment in which you consumed it to one in which increasingly content is disembodied. It's being consumed on devices and through feeds where people don't see it the way it was ever intended by the original preparer. And increasingly we're going to need to move content around between systems. And today's systems are very closed and very difficult to get content across. If you've got a blog and you want to move platform, it's a pain in the butt. And that problem is going to become bigger and bigger the more media you deal with. So let's look at 3 strategies for how we might be able to fix this. And look at some of the things which you can start doing today which might improve the situation. The first of these is that we need to send content management into the cloud. So cloud-based services where they're in a universally accessible open store where they can be got to from anywhere and where you get rid of the cost of running infrastructure. Because at the moment a lot of content producers spend all their time dealing with the infrastructure and the technicality rather than content. The second is universally accessible open APIs. The ability to open it up so that people can get to content and can build things that use content without having to use the tools that came in the system itself. When you look at something like Twitter, more than I think 75 or 80% of all the traffic through Twitter is going through third-party clients. So that is software that's been built by guys other than the Twitter guys themselves on their own website. And I think this is perhaps a model for content management, where if you can let the community build the applications and have them available through a universal API, we can improve the way it works. So there's a site, fixcontentmanagement.com, with a friend feed room, and love to see people's ideas on how we can throw away what's there and maybe start from scratch and find a better way. Thank you very much.